Hey everybody, Stephen and Frederick here with How I Cook. This week's episode, I have a guest star, Risa from Libertyville, Illinois. Risa is a long-term friend from back here in Maryland. She's moved out with her husband and her son to Illinois, and luckily they're back this weekend. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Mwah. It's Friday night when we're filming. You know what we have Friday night? Cocktails.
Cheers, queers.
Cheers, queers. So, what are we doing this week? We're doing ribs two ways. One in a crock pot and one in the oven. And we're going to compare and see what we like. But before we actually cook the ribs, we need to make a nice dry rub. So, I asked Reese if she would help me. The reason we're doing it on a Friday night, you don't need to do it the day before. But I like to put my rub on the ribs, put them in the refrigerator overnight, and then cook them the next day. If you wake up and you're like, I really want ribs, just make the rub and put it on and cook it. Once you put the barbecue sauce on, who cares?
I always wake up and say I really want ribs.
There you go. So the base of our dry rub is going to be brown sugar.
Light brown sugar.
Yes, can you put, sorry, there we go. We're using the whole bag. This is a really big batch. Will we use it all? Probably not. All right, so that's a really sweet base. That's the last sweet thing we're going to put in. We're going to put a lot of savory stuff in. If you want to be the mixer.
I will be the mixer.
Let's put some chili powder. Chili powder has a nice aroma, a nice taste.
This one.
And it'll offset the brown sugar. How much? That much. You know, that's how I cook. Onion powder. Quite a bit. Garlic powder. Quite a bit. Paprika. If you had to ask me what paprika tastes like, I don't know. But I think it really does make a difference in dishes. So, paprika. What do you think?
Technically, paprika is a pepper.
I did not know that. And it's just ground up, dried and ground up?
Mm-hmm.
A wealth of knowledge. Cumin.
Smelling really good.
Cumin. I didn't used to like cumin, I thought, and then I started adding it to recipes. It's really good. And again, it offsets a lot of the sweetness. So that was an old bottle. Let's put a little bit more cumin.
Never had too much cumin.
I think the last time I used cumin in one of these episodes is when we did burritos, when we were sauteing the vegetables. Black pepper. So you see, we're doing a lot of savories here. It's still going to be sweet with the brown sugar, but we need all these savories. And then finally, kosher salt and cayenne. Well, Alice, who was guest star last time, or 2 episodes ago, gave me this Salt Hot Steve. It's really hot, so it's like a mixture of kosher salt and cayenne. You want to try? A little bit of a kick. So there we go. I wish we had smell-o-vision. It smells really good. I think it's time for a sip. Okay, we're back. We put the rub aside, and now we're going to talk about ribs. These are ribs that I got at Costco. They look really nice, a big rack of ribs. Well, I asked Risa, hey, does your family like ribs? And she laughed.
I said, have you met my family?
So, of course, I got a second rack of ribs. But then, better to have too much than not enough. So here's a third rack of ribs. So, also, we're going to be making it 2 ways, crock pot and oven. So this will be nice that we can have a big sample for both. So, do you want to walk us through this about cutting in between the bones and all?
I usually just cut, so I'm not sure what to walk anybody through.
Well,
Have you taken the silver skin off?
I do not. But let's see the way Risa does it. Again, it's good to show people doing things different ways. She'll explain to you what the silver skin is and how she takes it off. That's not the way I do it, but as we say around here, it's not the right way. It's not the way you should do it. This is how I cook. So let's see how Risa cooks.
So, this here is the silver skin. Let me tilt this up. Yeah, sorry. You can see this skin that's separating off the back of the ribs. It's very tough, and it shrinks when it cooks, which kind of tightens the ribs. So what you want to do is get the knife underneath, and you want to cut through.
Okay, welcome back. Risa just did a great job of taking the silver skin off of these ribs. As you can see the difference, this looks primarily white, and you can see a lot more of the pink here. It was laborious. She did a great job. That's why I don't do it. So you pick, but she's absolutely right. It can be a little tough. It can shrink the ribs up. Meh. So now we're going to cut.
Okay.
I don't know what you want to do. Like every 3, every 4, whatever you want to do.
I usually do them in pairs, but let's do 3s.
Okay, good.
Okay. And it's relatively easy. You just want to get a feel for making sure you're in between the bones. It's also easier to do without the silver skin, by the way. Nice and easy. Boom.
Very easy. Look at that. 3 ribs.
And you can sort of see almost like knuckles here, so you want to make sure you're getting in between the knuckles.
Yep.
You don't want to have a knuckle sandwich.
They say dad jokes. I just think she made a mom joke.
I did.
And then that one you'll just leave, or do you want to do 2s? Do 3?
That's 3, and then you're left with 2.
Great.
And there we go.
Great. Easy squeezing. So what I'm going to do, and I tend to stand it up, but maybe Risa's way is better, is I stand it up. And not that gravity's helping me, but down it goes. Now, you guys know that we have dogs, and they're right here beneath us, waiting for something to drop. Okay, so we have them all cut. Now what we're going to do is, the rub we made, voila, we're going to put on the ribs.
Nice.
What I like to do is face down. Here.
Thank you.
So do that. And eventually they're going to overlap. It'll be fine. They're definitely going to overlap in the crock pot. But for the initial rub, we'll just leave them there. Perfect. What are we going to do now? It's called a rub. We're going to rub it in to the ribs. Now, we did wash our hands, so they're clean, except for the pork, but that's okay. So, Lisa could do hers, I could do mine. Just liberally put it on there and rub it in. And then we flip them over and we do the other side. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pick up this extra rub that's on the counter and put it on the ribs. put some plastic wrap on the ribs, and put them in the refrigerator. So I will see you tomorrow at some time to do step number 2. All right, everybody.
Bye-bye.
And before we go, cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome back. So it's Saturday afternoon, a little after 3 o'clock. So what's that? Around 22 hours later. You can see the ribs were in the refrigerator overnight. The rub has gotten a little wet and seeped in. It smells really good in here. So I'm going to show you 2 ways to now cook the ribs. Crock pot and oven. Let's start with crock pot. Crock pot's empty. Just put a little vegetable spray, and then we're putting ribs in. 4, 8, 14. So I'll put 7 pieces of ribs in here, and then I'll put 7 in the oven. I don't stand mine up. I've seen some people do, but I just like to lay them in. If they overlap, okay, no biggie. We want to put all this loveliness in with the ribs. We put a lid on. We put on low for 4 hours. That's it. Now, the oven. I put aluminum foil on this baking sheet. A little vegetable spray. And the same thing. I'm just going to put the ribs on this sheet. And this too. We're going to spread loveliness. Right now the oven has been preheating to 225. So we put all this in there. And now I put more aluminum foil on here. We want to seal it up tightly. And that's it. And now what do? We put it in the oven for 4 hours. So the nice thing is both will be ready for the next step in 4 hours. Okay, so see you in 4 hours. All right, so I said we'll be back in around 4 hours, and it's about 4 hours. It's around 7:15. So the ribs have been in the crock pot, and the ribs have been in the oven. Oh, you're thinking, Steve, that's not Risa. No, this is not Risa. This is Robbie. Robbie from Libertyville as well.
Hello.
He is Risa's son, and yes, there is a father, Rod. Rod's over there, but he's camera shy. But you can say hi, can't you?
Yes, I can say hi, can't you?
There we go. So we have Risa, Rod, and Robbie from Libertyville. Robbie is my godson and the crew's godson as well. Okay, moving on. So, first, I'm going to change things up. Let's do the crock pot.
All right.
Doesn't it smell good? So look at these. 4 hours, crock pot, the rub, really good.
They look amazing.
Why don't we stop here?
I agree.
We will sauce them, and then we will put these on and sauce them.
Okay.
So, you can use whatever sauce you like. I like Sweet Baby Ray's. You can go on the internet and make your own sauce. What we're going to do is we're going to sauce these, and then these go in the oven for half an hour, uncovered. And hopefully we'll get some caramelization. Why don't you squirt?
Okay, thank you. Tell me when to stop.
When do you want to stop? It's up to you.
Seems good.
And then Robbie and I are going to spread the sauce with these silicone brushes. If you don't have silicone brushes, you really should get them. Okay, so what we're going to do is put these in a 350-degree oven. You remember when I put those ribs in, it was 225. We're now going to crank it up to 350 for 30 minutes. Can you open the door, please?
Yes, I can. Top one?
Yeah. Thanks. And then I'll take this out. And can you crank that up to 350, please?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so this one we put in the oven at 225 for 4 hours. Ooh.
That is pretty.
That's pretty hot. Okay, there's a slight difference. You can see a lot more of the bone is exposed here, so I think these are more cooked than those. I don't think those other ones are undercooked. And the rub is a little more brown. This is why we do it. Which is better? Do you want sauce them?
Yes, I do.
This smells so good.
Yes, it does. Very hungry, kid.
Cool. All right. Back in the same oven, 350 for half an hour. If you could get the door for me,
Yes, I can.
I'd appreciate it. It's about a half hour later, and we're going to take both sets of ribs out of the oven. Why don't we come over here? Ooh. So these are the ribs that were in the oven for the 4 hours. And these are the ribs that were in the crock pot for 4 hours.
Noticeable difference.
Yeah, there is a noticeable difference.
Well,
So what we're going to do is, it's very hot. So we're going to have to blow on it, but Robbie and I are going to do a taste test.
yes.
Wait, just get a little one over there. So why don't we each get a fork?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you try that one? I'll try this one, and then we'll switch.
I got a knife.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Oh. They look fantastic. Thank you.
Oof.
Ooh. That steam from the inside is a good sign. Alright.
All right, let me borrow that. Don't burn yourself.
I will not.
Good stuff. The rub really does have all the savory. There's a little sweetness, but it's not like candy. You can taste the garlic. You can taste the cumin. All good.
Now this is very saucy. You can. The sauce is like very much going on, if that makes sense.
I think he endorses it.
Yeah, it's really good. You know what? It's really good.
Yeah, of course. This one's good as well. But
That's the stuff right there.
But I think the ones that were in the oven for 4 hours at 225,
Yes,
they're more tender.
they are definitely more tender.
So nice flavor.
Yes,
So what would we say? If we were going to do this again, oven?
oven definitely.
Yeah.
The crock pot is good, but and definitely like a lot more easy. But the oven ones are like better.
Yeah, a step above. So, all right, that's the end of this episode of How I Cook. I want to thank Risa. I want to thank Robbie. And hopefully you out there will one day be here in the set with me for How I Cook. All right, take care. Bye. You want to say bye?
Bye.
We're done. Wrap.